Good evening, sir. Firearms identification and investigation. Ballistic, balin or true. Ballistic is the science that deals with the motion, behavior, and effects of projectiles, especially bullets, gravity bombs, rockets, or the like. The science or art of designing and hurling projectiles so as to achieve a desired performance. A ballistic body is a body which is free to move, behave, and be modified in appearance, contour, or to texture by ambient conditions, substances, or forces as by the pressure of gases in gun, by rifling in a barrel, by gravity, by temperature, or by air particles. Firearm ballistics information is used in forensic science. Separately from ballistics information, firearms and tool mark examination involve analyzing firearms, ammunition, and tool mark evidence in order to establish whether a certain firearm tool was used in the commission of crime. So, ang ballistic is mo siya ang study sa mga epekto sa pagbuto sa usa ka bala or cartridge sa usa ka firearms. Gina-studyhan nila ang mga epekto sa bullet or ang pagbuto sa usa ka cartridge sa usa ka pusil. And that is the ballistic. So, ballistic is sometimes subdivided into four. So, we have four. First is the internal ballistics, second is transition ballistics, external ballistics, and terminal ballistics. So, internal ballistics is the study of the processes originally accelerating the projectile, for example, the passage of a bullet through the barrel or a rifle. So, ang internal ballistics is muna siya ang ga-study sa propulsion sa usa ka projectile. So, ang internal ballistics is sa mga firearms, ang internal ballistics cover sa internal ballistics ang oras sugod sa pagkalayo or pag-ignite sa propellant hangtod sa mugawas ang projectile sa gun barrel. So that's the internal ballistic. So transition ballistic, the study of the projectile's behaviors when it leaves the barrel and the pressure behind the projectile is equalized. So transition ballistics mo ni siya ang pag-study sa kinaiya sa projectile gikan sa paggawa sa muzzle taman sa pressure behind sa projectile is equalized. So mo nga ang kaning transition ballistic is naani siya between sa internal ballistics o external ballistics. So external ballistics, the study of the passage of the projectile through space or the air. So ang external ballistics mo po ni siya ang ga-study sa paglupad sa usa ka projectile or sa bullet gikan sa muzzle sa firearms. Paglupad sa bullet gikan sa muzzle sa firearms, siya ga-study mo ni siya ang study sa projectile sa gikan sa muzzle o pagawas dito ni siya sa air or sa space. And then in the last is the terminal ballistic, the study of the interaction of a projectile with its target, whether that be placed of a hunting bullet, steel for an anti-tank round, or even furnace slug for an industrial slug disruptor. So ang terminal ballistics pod is concern ni siya sa behavior sa usa ka. So ang terminal ballistics is concerned sa behavior og sa mga epekto sa usa ka projectile when it hits transfers its energy to the target. So ang terminal ballistics is study siya sa projectile nga epekto paingon dito sa target. And then the drag of projectile moving head on is now usually divided into three parts. First is bow resistance, second is skin friction, and third is base drag. So bow resistance due to air pressure at the head of the projectile. So ang bow resistance daw is the pressure sa hangin sa projectile. And then ang skin friction is caused by the friction of air moving along the middle portion of the body. So ang skin friction is tungod sa friction sa hangin nga galihok sa tunga sa part sa iyang body. Then base drag due to the under pressure and disturbance of the air behind the base. So tungod sa under pressure o disturbance sa hangin sa likod sa base. And then interior ballistic is the study of motion of projectiles within the gun barrel. That time during which the projectile is influenced by the interior ballistics is very short, from the release of the firing pin to the moment the sound of the shot can be heard as it leaves the muzzle occupies about 0.01 seconds in a modern rifle. So interior ballistics involves walo ka interior ballistics involves. First is the ignition of the primer. Second is the flames is produced. Third is the combustion of the gunpowder. Energy that is generated. Force pressure developed. Velocity of the bullet from the chamber to the muzzle. Rotation of the bullet. Engraving of the cylindrical surface of the bullet. So muna siya ang walo ka interior ballistics involved. So interior ballistics deals with the temperature, volume, and pressure of the gases resulting from combustion of the propellant charge in the gun. It is also deals with the work performed by the expansion of these gases on the gun. The British engineer Benjamin Rubins conducted many experiments in interior ballistics. Benjamin Rubins is the father of the modern gunnery. Related terms in interior ballistics is the first is action. Action is term referring to the mechanism of a firearm. Second is burning rate. Burning rate, an arbitrary index of the quickness that burning propellant changes into gas. Burning rate is controlled by a chemical composition, the size and shape of the propellant grains, and the pressure of which the burning takes place. IMR 5010 powder is very slow burning and bullseye is fast burning. Bulk density. Bulk density, the ratio of the weight of a given volume of powder versus weight of the same volume of water. Chamber pressure. Chamber pressure, the pressure generated within the chamber, erroneously called breech pressure. And then charge weight to bullet weight ratio. This is the ratio of the weight of the powder charged to the weight of the projectile. Detonation. Detonation, a chemical arrangement of molecules into gas instead of solids to cause the high explosive to exert full power of shock. The speed of detonation varies in different explosives, but in some it is as high as 7,000 yards in a second. Energy. Energy is measured in foot-pounds. In 1 foot-pound means that amount of energy which would be capable of lifting a weight of 1 pound through a distance of 1 foot drop block action. That type of action in which the breech block rises and forces vertically in cuts in the receiver sidewalls, lever actuated as a roll. Expansion ratio. Expansion ratio, the ratio of the capacity of the powder chamber plus bore to the capacity of the powder chamber. Foot-pound. Foot-pound, the amount of work required to raise 1 pound 1 foot high against the force of gravity. Foot-second. Foot-second, a velocity expressed in the foot per second. So, foot seconds is velocity expressed in foot per second. Gas. So, gas is a fluid resulting from the combustion of gunpowder with a relative great expansion and spontaneous tendency. So, gas is a fluid resulting from the combustion of a gunpowder. And then, hang fire. Hang fire occurs when a cartridge fails to explode on time and delayed in firing. So, hang fire is ang panghang sa usa ka cartridge, but ni-explode gyapon siya or nibuto gyapon siya but dili na siya on time. Kumbaga dili siya nakablit na siya pero dili siya aya siya nibuto, dili mga pila ka seconds. That is hang fire. Knocking power. Knocking power is the power of the bullet which delivers a very heavy paralyzing blow that put the victim down and then recover if the wound inflicted upon is not fatal. Loading density. Loading density, the ratio of the weight of the powder charged to the capacity of the powder chamber. It is usually expressed as the ratio of the charge weight to the capacity of the powder chamber in grains of water. Generally, the more fully the powder charge fills the case, the more consistent and accurate the load will be. On the other hand, if the loading density is too low, much free space in the case, it can cause erratic ignitions, change in the pressure curve, moving the peak towards the muzzle, or even over rapid burning detonations of the powder charge. One reasons manual list minimum or starting loads. Next is misfire. Misfire, total failure of a cartridge to discharge. This is different from hang fire, which merely a delayed combustion, while misfire, a complete failure able to start combustion. So, different rin siya sa hang fire. Ang katong hang fire is nibuto siya, ang hang fire is nibuto siya, pero dili lang siyang pagbuto. Wala siya nibuto sa pag start ni magpapabuto, wala pa siya nibuto. Kumbaga dili siya mga pila ka kanaya siya nibuto. But this moto siya ang hang fire, but kining misfire is wala gid siya nibuto. Wala dili siya wala gid siya nibuto. Totally failure gid ang iyang cartridge. So that is misfire. Powder chamber capacity. Powder chamber capacity as most interior ballistic capacity measurements. It is usually expressed in grains of water. It is determined by measuring the weight of water that a fired case from the test firearm can contain with a bullet seated to its normal depth. Note that this varies with different bullets or seating depth as well as the dimensions of the chamber and the brand of case. Pressure. Outward push of gases from powder combustion against cartridge case, chamber, and bore. Sectional density. Sectional density, the ratio of the bullet's weight in pounds to its diameter. PSI. PSI is pounds per square seconds, square inches. So PSI is pounds per square inches. It is often seen designated as PSIA or PSIA. This designation is now used to signify a measurement of chamber pressure taken with a piezoelectric device. Piezoelectric units operate in a similar fashion to the copper crusher units but use a reusable crystal crusher that changes its electrical properties in response to pressure. When connected to the suitable recording equipment, the entire pressure pulse history can be recorded or displayed. The peak pressure recorded by a piezoelectric peak device usually reads about 5,000 psi higher than the figure determined by the copper cross method. Number 20 is the recoil. Recoil, the equal and opposite reaction of the gun against the forward movement of the bullet during the explosion. Residual pressure. Residual pressure, the pressure remains in the chamber after the bullet has left the barrel. Exterior ballistic. Exterior ballistics deals with the motion of projectiles from the time they leave the muzzle of the firearm to the time they hit the target. The flight of most bullet or projectile does not exceed 30 seconds at maximum range, which for almost any firearms is obtained at an elevation of about 33. Condition refers to the natural laws. First, velocity, energy, yaw, and gyroscopic action. So velocity, speed per unit of time. Example is M16, 3,300 feet per seconds. That is velocity. And then energy. Energy is fatal equivalent of a bullet. Next is yaw. Yaw is the unstable rotating motion of a bullet. So yaw is unstable rotating motion sa usa ka bullet. Gyroscopic action. Gyroscopic action refers to the stillness of its rotating motion and attain its highest momentum or stability in flight and penetrating power. In interior ballistics, elements such as shape, caliber, weight, initial velocities, rotation, air resistance, and gravity help determine the path of projectile from the time it leaves the gun until it reaches the target. And then further, external ballistic refers to the attributes and movements of the bullets after it has left the gun muzzle. It includes muzzle blast. So muzzle blast, the noise created at the muzzle point of the gun due to the sudden escape of the expanding gas coming in contact with the air in the surrounding atmosphere at the muzzle point. Muzzle energy. Muzzle energy generated at the muzzle point. Trajectory. Trajectory, the actual curved path of the bullet during its flight from the gun muzzle to the target. The following are the kind of trajectory: straight horizontal line, parabola-like, flight vertical drop. Range. Range is the straight distance between the muzzle point and the target. So that is the range. So accurate, effective range. Accurate range. Accurate range, the distance within the shooter has control of his shoots, meaning he can place his shoots at the desired spots. Maximum range. Maximum range, the farthest distance that a projectile can be propelled from a firearm. Mo siyang duha ka klase sa range. Maximum range and accurate range. Velocity. Velocity rate of speed of the bullet per unit of time. So velocity is rate of speed of the bullet per unit of time. Long barrel rifle. Long barrel rifle, up to 3,000 yards accurate range, and its hinge muzzle velocity of 1,000 to 4,000 feet per second. Air resistance. Resistance encountered by the bullet while in flight. Pull of gravity, downward reaction of the bullet while in flight. Penetration is depth of entry on target. So that's also